Hey folks, how you guys doing again? This is Jimmy Roberts, your local real estate professional, and today is part four of our bad appraisal workshop. Here, this is everything not to do in an appraisal. Or if you happen to be a receiver of one of these appraisals, you're going to know how to identify some of the information. Okay, so just to recap, again, this is number 4. And today we're going to talk about some of the sales data and some of the adjustments. So we're going to jump right into that. Just as a recap, I received an appraisal from a friend about a week and a half ago. I reviewed the appraisal and it was chock full of holes. Just a really bad appraisal. And we're walking through that process right now. The home that was appraised is a 2-bedroom duplex located here in the city of Detroit. So here we go. So this is the subject property as we see, and we've seen so many different times. So let's jump right into it. So here's the first error I want to talk about. Now, I know it seems like a little thing. Seems like such a little thing. But I want you to take a look at, this is the top of the sales page of where we get into the actual number crunching. And as you can see here, this appraiser has said that there are no comparable sales that have sold, and there are no properties that are being offered, meaning listed, that are similar to the subject. As you probably already know, there's a problem with that, right? He makes that statement, and well, it's blatantly not true. I'll just leave it at that. And not only that, I'm going to show you something else to prove this up. So this was number 1. So this is the first issue. Here comes the second. So these are the sales comparables that this appraiser chose to use. Now, here's the first question I have for you. Now, you remember in the last item that I just showed you, the appraiser said that there are absolutely no sales that were similar to the subject. And so he had zeros, no sales, no active or pending listings, nothing. But then he provides 3 sales. I'm going to repeat that. The section, it goes like right about here, he says there are no sales. And then he goes about providing actually 4 sales. We're only going to talk about 3 though, because, for time's sake. He goes about providing 4 sales. Think about that. That's just inconsistent. That's just obviously and blatantly inconsistent. And I'm absolutely amazed that the review appraisers didn't catch it. That's so simple. But anyway, let's jump right into this. So now, the appraiser found 4 properties, actually, that were all above $100,000. Remember, the homeowner received a contract or a offer for $115,000. There were 4 properties that all sold for over $110,000. Every one of them received a 20% reduction in price. Every one of them. The only property that was included in this appraisal that did not receive a 20% reduction for location, essentially, is the active listing, and that property was offered at $80,000. By the way, the appraiser appraised this property for $90,000. But every other property, regardless of its location, regardless of the similarities of neighborhood, regardless of its condition, received a 20% reduction in price. And, oh, by the way, there's absolutely no documentation as to why they received a 20% reduction in price. He just says that they're in better neighborhoods. Well, I'm going to say this. For those of you all who don't know, I was born and raised in the city of Detroit. And I can tell you that while there are distinctions in neighborhoods, in these neighborhoods that we're talking about here, they're about the same. So the question becomes, how the heck do you come up with a 20% reduction in across the board reduction in sales price? And here's the other question. And this is one that we really got to ask, because it's one thing for the appraiser to do it, but just so you all know, everything an appraiser does is scrutinized and nitpicked by at least 3 other people. You got the underwriter, you got the review appraiser, and somebody else thrown in under it. Okay? At least. And none of them said anything about this. None of them. So somebody was able to just make a blanket 20%. 20%, think about that. 20%. And not a word. Now, that tells me again, how are you able to get away with this unless you've already decided some things? I have no idea. I know for a fact that when I make adjustments in appraisals, I get hit up quite a bit. People ask me all the time, Jimmy, why didn't you make this adjustment? Why didn't you make this adjustment? Blah, blah, blah. That's how I know that the rationale behind why you're supposed to make adjustments should be in your appraisal report, because it should be self-contained. When you pick up an appraisal report, you should be able to read it and say, okay, you may not agree with it. That's one thing. But you should be able to read it and say, okay, this appraiser made this adjustment because of reason such and such. I may not agree, but at least he told me why he made the adjustment. And he should be able to back it up. Because here's the thing. Unlike my realtor brothers and brethren, I should say, my realtor brethren and sisterin, which I am one, by the way, so I don't want to see any negative comments in there. Appraisers have to support everything they put in their appraisal. Remember, it's all about consistency and the ability to consistently present your information, and it's got to be supported by data. It has to be supported by data. So my question is this: what data did this appraiser use to justify a 20% reduction in sales prices for properties that are located in various neighborhoods? I mean, look at this. This property, he's got properties up to almost 4 miles away. Just randomly picked 4 properties 4 miles away, up to 4 miles away. And somehow or another, there's absolutely no documentation as to, one, why he chose those properties. Because again, remember, he didn't have any sales to choose from. That's one. And two, how that adjustment was determined. That's not how you do it. And, oh, by the way, here's the most ironic part. The most ironic part is this. In his appraisal, he includes this little tidbit. Now, I'm gonna spare you the thing, but I'm gonna read this. The appraiser's adjustments must reflect the market's reaction. This is market-based adjustments. So the differences in properties, the appraiser's adjustments must reflect market reactions to the differences in properties. For example, it would be inappropriate for an appraiser to provide a $20 per square foot adjustment for the differences in gross living area based on a rule of thumb when market analysis indicates the adjustment should be $100 per square foot. So if it would be inappropriate to make a $20 adjustment when a market was expecting a $100 adjustment, what do you think the market would expect from a 20% adjustment that was just randomly applied? So clearly he knows the right procedure. But for whatever reason, he's chosen not to go by his own words. All right, this is Jimmy Roberts, your local real estate professional, and I will see you in the next video. See you.